Hello, my love. Welcome to another episode of Blisstopia podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Castellani, and I'm super happy to be having this conversation today. Today, we're going to talk about how astrology can give you information about your life purpose. And we have Novaline Elsebet to talk about this topic. Novaline is an astrologer and mindset coach. She blends astrology and mindset work to help women turn their deepest pain into power. She's an Aquarius Sun, Leo Moon, Sagittarius Rising, so she brings both wisdom and fire into her work. She overcame deep-rooted trauma and abuse herself, so her mission is to help women break free from the wounds from the past, step into their purpose, create tangible results, and turn their vision board dreams into reality. So welcome, Novaline, to the show. I'm super happy to have this conversation with you.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for the warm welcome.
Amazing. So we're going to dive right in. I know my girlies here in the podcast, they love astrology. So we're going to dive right into the topic. We have so much to learn from you today.
Yeah.
So how do you think astrology can help a person understand what their life purpose is?
Yeah, so it's a beautiful question. That's what I love the most about astrology, because it's really a permission slip to step into what we came here to do and to be. And astrology is such a great help, because I feel that some of the most important tools for us in order to step into our life purpose is tuning into our intuition. And it's like astrology is helping us tuning more into our intuition. So when we dive into astrology, and that is why so many people love it, is because that when we learn it and when we read it, there's nothing in there that we don't already know. It's the language that speaks to the soul. And there's so much information, there's so much depth and layers into astrology. You can literally learn always, like no matter how many years you have been into astrology, no matter how advanced an astrologer you are, you keep learning new things. And everything that there is in the birth chart is showing you your life purpose, what you incarnated here on earth to become and to learn about and step into.
Amazing. And many people, when we think about astrology, they have some misconceptions, maybe astrology is not a science. We shouldn't really trust this. What is this woohoo kind of thing?
Yeah.
How are we going to base such an important decision like your life purpose on astrology? Some people might think. So, which are some of the misconceptions about astrology?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot of misconceptions. And what I hear the most is that astrology isn't real. Astrology is not based on science. And it's like you only need to be kind of spiritual or religious in order to believe in astrology. And though that it is real, that science as we know it today doesn't approve of or confirms astrology, what I really love thinking about is that astrology is actually something that has been studied for over thousands of years. And in ancient times, astrology was actually equal with astronomy, where that people still use today, where they point out where all the stars and planets and etc. is in the night sky. In ancient times, doctors and medicals and priestess and all kinds of people like that, they were also using astrology in their practice. So, but as we know it today, it's not covered by science. But what I also really love about astrology, and that I also teach my clients, is that you don't need to believe in astrology. You can use astrology as a tool, and astrology is just here to help you view things in a different way, creating more self-awareness, more awareness to your relationships and your blockages, your shadows. So it's like any other tool that we use for more self-awareness, more self-love. And we can use that even though we don't believe in it.
I think that's really interesting what you're saying, because it's okay, astrology can give you information. It can support your decision process. It can give you information about, in this case, what we're talking about today, it's life purpose. But we don't necessarily need to believe in this as if it was some kind of religion, or that we need to follow blindly. Okay, this is one piece of information that then you can put together maybe with other pieces of information that you can find from your own intuition, from working with a coach, from trying other modalities, spiritual modalities, if you want to have that kind of information. And then with all that information, then you can create, you can make your decision about, okay, what is it that I came here to do on earth, and what is it that I want to do with my life, with my time, with my energy.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's imagine that a person is like, okay, I want to know what my life purpose is. I do think that astrology has information to tell me something about my life purpose. So where do we start? Because astrology is so vast, it's so
Yeah.
complex. There's all of these charts and nodes and planets and things. It's very complicated. So for a person who's into like basic astrology knowledge, how can
Mhm.
they get information about their life purpose on their chart?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And I want to start to answer it in the more complex way that I look at it, and then I will also suggest how newbies and beginners can look at it in their chart without having all the knowledge that an advanced astrologer has. But it actually is more advanced because it's not just one thing to look at in the chart. Your entire chart is your life purpose. So in order for you to step into your soul's purpose, you are here to step into your entire birth chart and everything that it covers. And that is also not just something that we do from the day that we take our first breath. It is something that we continuously do throughout our entire life. And we are put here on earth to learn and to experience life and see how everything unfolds. So what is also very important here when we talk about life purpose is to be really clear about what the other person means by life purpose. So some people would think about career when we talk about purpose, like what do I need to do here with my life? And other people are more like on a spiritual level or mental level, or life purpose can mean so many different things to different people. So I would always be curious about what does life purpose mean to you, and then I would look at different components in the chart. But something that is always very interesting to look at in the chart that I would also recommend anyone who listens here today to look at is the North Node in your birth chart, because the North Node is what we are meant to step into. It tells us a lot about our purpose. So that is one of the things that could be beneficial to look at. It's said that we have the North Node and then we have the South Node on the other side. And the South Node is what we came from. That is what we are here with, our wisdom and our knowledge, and what comes easy for us, our comfort zones, and our greatest strengths and gifts. But it is also where we will likely feel stagnant, and we will feel bored, and we will feel that we are not living up to our soul's mission if we stay in the South Node. And that is important that we learn here throughout the life, and especially around the age of 30. That is where we really feel that we are stepping more into the North Node. If we are conscious enough to do that. It's not everyone who does, but most people does it through aging, and we learn so much. So yeah, stepping into the North Node, because that is what is telling us to lean into our highest potential and create more growth. The North Node is also often what is feeling more uncomfortable to us because it's out of our comfort zone. It's the new. It's not what comes natural to us, but it is a big part of the life purpose to step into the North Node.
Amazing. I was
Yeah.
laughing when you said after your 30s because I'm like, yeah, my change definitely started happening after my 30s. It was like,
Yeah.
definitely. So that for me, that was 2020. And I think when I turned 31, so it was 2021, I was like, okay, what is my life purpose? What did I came here to do? Da, 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 da. And I think
Yeah.
that's maybe when I entered into my North Nodes again. Definitely. I'm by the book, basically. Things happen by the book. So let's imagine
Yeah.
that a woman is listening to this and she's
Mm.
like, okay, let me pause this episode right now.
Yeah.
Let me get this thing very quickly
Yeah.
on the internet and kind of like read about it right now. Is there any page that you recommend that gives us like a good chart? And where do we find the North Node and the South Node? Because there's again so many things to look into that what should we actually technically do to check the North Node and the South Node?
Yeah, that's so good that you asked that. There's basically so many different websites, but you can use astro.com.
Mhm.
That's the website I use and most people use, and that is for free. So you can just pull up your site right there. And the North Node looks like a horseshoe. So look for the symbol that looks like a horseshoe, and that is the North Node. In astro.com, they don't show the South Node. They does that on other websites. But the south node is on the other side. It's on the contrary. So if you have your north node in Cancer, then your south node would be in Capricorn. It's always on the other side. Yeah. So yeah, that is a north node. I would also look at, especially if we were talk about career, I would also look at the midhaven. It tells us a lot about the vocation and also the 10th house. So I would look at where are they located in your chart? What archetype do they sit in? Are there any planets there? Because that also tells a lot about the purpose career-wise. But to go further, it's also so important to look at the sun sign. The sun sign is so much part of your identity and what you came here to express and live out in your lives. Most people know their sun sign. There's so much wisdom there also for your life purpose. It's like if you don't live in your sun sign, I don't think you will feel really happy and thriving in your life. So it can be good to look at what are the positive and strength from the sun sign and lean more into that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what you said, sometimes we can define life purpose as related to our career and our work, or sometimes we can define it in a much broader, deeper aspect. Who do I came here to be?
Yeah, exactly.
What is my soul trying to learn on this incarnation, on this planet Earth? So it really depends how we think of the life purpose.
Yeah,
Do you think that our life purpose is fixed because of astrology, or do you think it can evolve over time?
I definitely think it can evolve over time. I also believe that it is part of our life purpose to grow and learn here in life. Like our life purpose is not an end destination, it's the entire journey. And I also believe that maybe we are not meant to know everything about a life purpose because it is developed throughout our life and it can change. So what feels so aligned and so right for you right now might be entirely changed in 10 years. And both your life now and your life in 10 years can be part of your soul's purpose and can feel so right for you. So I also believe that some of our greatest struggles and greatest pain in life can also be part of our purpose because it shaped us into becoming the people we were meant to be. And in the midst of the chaos and the pain, it's not always easy to surrender and feel this is part of my purpose. This is part of what I was meant to experience. But I see that almost every single time, both for myself and everyone I know, that on the other side of it, people always say, I know I was meant to experience that because it strengthened me and I learned so many things and it helped me become the person that I feel that I was meant to become.
Absolutely. And the journey is not necessarily easy. Sometimes it takes, a lot of pain, a lot of courage. But in the end, I think it gives us a lot of information about ourselves. And maybe the whole purpose is to get to know ourselves a little bit more and a little bit more as the years go by. So maybe that's the whole purpose. Just a lot of self-awareness and then doing different things along the way to gain that self-awareness.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you think astrology can give information to people as to when they should have a career change or when they should take big life decisions? Can we use astrology for that?
Yeah, 100%. Because it can show us so much about what we thrive in. So when we gain that awareness, it can confirm us if what we are doing is actually helping us towards that. So an example, if I look at my birth chart, I have so much Sagittarius and Aquarius energy, which tells me that I'm truly here for a freedom-based life. I'm here to go my own ways and I'm here to have so much adventure and travel. And deep down, I've always known that I wanted that. So having a job or a life that doesn't sustain that is not helpful for my journey and for my purpose. And I see that in a lot of people. And I also think that is why a lot of people doesn't thrive when they have too much restriction in their life, because so many of us are here for more freedom that we have in the modern world. So that can help us get more in touch with what am I truly here for. And also for me, I also have my moon in Leo, and that was a big stretch for me because Leo is here for the attention. Leo is here to be seen. And as a child, I've always liked the attention, but it also felt unsafe for me. So I really had to surrender into allowing myself to be seen. And I discovered that no matter how much healing work I did behind the scenes, I never fully healed. The moment that I actually start to feel the healing for me was when I allowed myself to be seen and I allowed myself to be heard, and I stepped into the arena and said, here I am, look at me. And it felt so uncomfortable and still can sometimes, but it's helping me towards my life purpose. And you can see that in everyone's chart, that if there's any significant placements, that's really good to look at for the life purpose. And yeah, you also ask, can I see if I should do big career changes? So you can see, does this live up to what I am living right now? And if not, how can I make some changes in my life? What can I pivot in order to step more into that? So I honor myself. And also there's also the other coin, that there's also the transits. The planets are transiting all the time. So that is more advanced astrology. But when you look at where the planets are transiting in your chart, you can also see how they are influencing you. And that is also how they are shaping us throughout our life all the time, because it's like they put these small nudges, like, you should go here now, and now I will just poke you here. So I will encourage you to step more into what you were here for.
Absolutely. And it's so
Yeah.
interesting how it's also dynamic. It's not just, okay, this
Mm.
is your birth chart, this is how the sky was when you were born, but it's also the sky is still moving every
Yeah.
day. So, how do we interact with all of that? So, do you see sometimes in a chart people who have multiple possible paths, people who could do several things, for example, in terms of career, people who could be doing very different things? Do we see that in the chart, or you see like a big theme that, for example, can be expressed or in different
Mm.
ways, or do you see like one very clear path? How does that work?
Yeah, I always see different components. It's actually, I would say it's very, very rare to see that it would only go in one way. Also, the chart can be interpreted in so many different ways, and all the signs are meant for so many different things. So, for example, if you have your midhaven in Cancer, that could mean that you are really here to be a nurturer in your career and really use love and protection and nurturing in your day-to-day job. But that could also come out in so many different ways. So the first thing that comes to mind could be like being in the daycare career or something around therapy. But it could also be like the Cancer really loves to protect other people. So it could also be something around protection, or you see, there's different way to interpret it. And also there's so many different things in the chart. So I always see different paths that are potential here. So I would never just look at, for example, the midhaven that you see with the MC symbol. I would also look at, where is the sun? What is your rising? Where is your moon? Because they are important for what you thrive in and what is part of your identity and your core. I would look at the sixth house, the second and the 10th house. And I would also look at the elements. So I also took a look at your chart before we dived in, and I saw that you have a lot of air elements and you basically have no water. So that tells that you are really here for the conversations and networking and talking, and the fact that you have a podcast is so aligned with your air. But I also think it's so beautiful that you coach in such a spiritual and meaningful topic as life purpose, where I would say that is so much of a water topic.
Mm.
And the fact that you have no water makes it so important that when there's something that is underrepresented in the chart, it can be very beneficial to work more into and to really practice embodying it more in our lives. So with water, it's the areas of emotions and intuition, feelings, and everything actually that is intangible, that we can't see, but that we can feel deep within ourselves. So connecting with that, I think it's so beautiful that you represent such an embodied version of these both components. Yeah, that is also a huge part of looking at.
And I think it was also part of maybe getting to know myself more, entering into this new stage of life, spirituality. Maybe before I was more separated, cut down from my emotions. And
Yeah.
then by doing the work, getting to know myself, a lot of self awareness, a lot of spirituality, then eventually
Yeah.
led me to changing my whole career. I became much more in contact with my emotions, much more in contact with my intuition. So I like to think so. I'm the last day. So I'm the 22nd of October. So the
Yeah.
very last day between Libra and Scorpio. And I
Yeah.
think as the years went by, I think I became a little bit more Scorpio. I was very, very Libra and I became a little bit more Scorpio, with the good sides of Scorpio being, the emotions, the intuition, not being afraid of going into the depths of things.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I became a lot more like that, I think, as the years went by.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm curious also about your chart and your purpose. How
Yeah.
did you find your purpose? Did you use astrology for this? And how do you define your purpose?
Yeah, yeah, that's so beautiful. Yeah, I feel it's actually intertwined with my purpose. I didn't use astrology at first, but astrology has definitely helped me much more, and especially also with the tangible stuff of stepping into my purpose. But I have always felt so. I grew up in a very abusive home, and I had to recover so much from the emotional abuse and with a lot of trauma. And especially in my teenage years, I had so much anxiety. So in my early adult years, I spent all my time recovering and finding myself and just learning how to live. And I really made it my mission back then to find out. I was so determined to find out how I could go from just surviving to learning to thrive. I had never experienced what it meant to be thriving and to feel happy and relaxed within my body and feel safe. So it was a very important time for me to learn all these things for myself. And then I made it my mission. I always said to myself, as soon as I learn this, I will help others with this as well. So it was like deep down, I always knew already from a very young age that that was part of my purpose. And as I got older, it became very difficult for me to find out how I was meant to do that. So I got to the other side. I spent years in therapy and learning so much about myself, and also in the spiritual work of healing and reconnecting with my soul and my intuition. And then it was like I was feeling, okay, I feel ready now to step more into how I can help other people with that. And then I just started to feel so confused, because even though that I knew that this is what I felt I was so meant for, it was like I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know how to help people. I was taking my degree in social education, and I became a social worker, and I could just feel that this is not the path for me. I need something more freedom based and something more intuitive and something where I can use my own tools more. So yeah, I was practicing a lot of things, and that was when I found my way back to astrology. I have always known about astrology, but I didn't use it that much in my earlier years. So yeah, I found my way back to astrology, and especially when I started to take my certificate as an astrologer, something just started to click for me, and I saw how my own chart was a huge potential for me to step into all that, and I could see so much healing potential and being of service and guiding other people. But I could also see my blockages and what was holding me back, and why it had been so much of a struggle for me to get out there and find my way professionally. So for my chart, I have a lack of earth. I don't have very much earth in my chart. And the earth element is very grounded and materialistic, and they are very good at executing on their goals and taking things step by step and tuning into the body. And they are often also very good at everything that has to do with the body or money or food or anything that is tangible, people that have a strong earth. And I didn't have that. And I also have my North Node in Virgo in the 10th house, which is very much about being of service, helping other people, taking things step by step, being really tangible with your goals and what you do. And I saw that I actually wasn't very good at that. And I was much more flowy and intuition. And I had the idea that I could just meditate and my intuition would guide me. But I could see that I wasn't actually taking action on all these intuitive downloads that I got. So that was a huge help for me. And as soon as I started to step into that, I could see results immediately. So it was like I finally found out that everything wasn't delivered to me, and it was not like I could just wake up one morning and I would have everything that I dreamt of. But I could take a small step each day, and I could see that I would slowly develop and I would slowly get more and more of the things and the life that I so desperately wanted to create.
I love this idea of thinking, okay, astrology is not going to give you the whole answer, like, okay, boom, magic wand, this is what you should be doing. But it tells you, okay, look into this topic in your life, get better at that, look into this other topic, get better at that.
Yeah.
And then by developing yourself, by growing, going on a self-development journey, maybe you can be like, this is how these thoughts, maybe 3 different dots, 4 different dots that seem unrelated, you're like, oh, I could actually do this, this, this. And now you
Yeah.
have the skills to actually put that purpose into practice. It's not just this is what you should be doing. It's more like this is who you need to become to be able to do all of those things, which is, I
Yes.
think, a much broader and much more interesting game to play. Who do we need to become to be
Yeah.
able to, to pursue our life's purpose? So
Yeah,
beautiful.
100%. Yeah,
So beautiful.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, and I was also like, I remember I've also always been so interested in manifestation, and people talk so much about that. And I was always thinking like, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm not manifesting all the things that I wanted. And I had so many dreams and so many desires for my life. And everything felt so intangible. And I was so determined at just getting better at manifesting. And it was actually until I learned about my lack of earth element that I discovered why I was so quote unquote bad at manifesting, because I didn't take inspired action, which is also required. And everything became too intangible for me. And that was just my path. So for other people, it could like they be like that they are too tangible and they don't surrender enough. I was all about surrendering, that I didn't do anything. And it was such a game changer for me to experience how I could create more balance in that and actually start getting results, even though it was small results, but it was better than no results at all.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because it can either go in 2 ways, right? Either we're too much in our masculine, doing,
Mhm.
and then we can't let go of control,
Yeah.
or we are too much in our feminine, like you said, meditating, dreaming. We're all about the vibes, and we love that.
Yeah.
But then if we don't send the email, if we don't make the phone call, if we don't do the thing that we're actually supposed to do, then things are not moving forward.
Yeah,
I remember
exactly.
when I did my birth chart, I think it was like about, what was it, 2022, gave me
Mhm.
a lot of information. And actually, all of my life, I thought I was a Libra sun and Libra rising. And basically, what happened was that I misunderstood the hour in which I was born,
Yeah.
which was 1 hour earlier. And that changed my whole rising. And it turns
Mhm.
out that I'm Libra sun and Virgo rising.
Yeah.
And then what the astrologer back then told me was it's actually a very good thing because, as you said, I have so much air in the chart that then having the Virgo, it actually allows me to manifest and bring things into life, because my Libra is like, it should be beautiful. What are we going to do? La, la, la. It's all like super
Yeah.
happy. It should be pretty. It's not going to be pretty, like, let's not even bother.
Yeah.
And what are we going to do? And what's the ideal thing? Blah, blah, blah. And then the Virgo, it's like, okay, but what's the timing? What's the
Yeah.
budget? When are you going to do it? Who do you need to talk to? Like, what are we actually doing?
Yeah.
And then it's really good because it's this mix of having the ideas, but also being
Mm.
like boom, 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 like relentlessly executing. And I
Yeah.
love also supporting my clients on this, having, okay, what do you actually want to do? What's your life purpose? And then at the end of the process, it's always, okay, but what's the timing? What's the budget? What are you going to do? When are you going to do it? And then at the end, they live with a sense of, okay, this is how I'm going to bring this very like crazy idea who's in my mind, how I'm going to bring this into earth and actually manifest this and actually materialize this. And I
Yeah.
think it's a journey for all of us to kind of put those things into balance, having the ideas and the intuition on one side, and then, okay, but what does this actually mean here on planet Earth 3D, where we're actually living right now?
Yeah. Yeah,
Amazing.
exactly. Yeah, so
Amazing.
your Virgo is really complementing your Libra.
It really helps because otherwise there's a lot of air. Without that
Mhm.
Virgo there, it would be like
Yeah. Too much fluff.
too much fluff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How do you personally, I'm curious also about your own story, how do you personally use astrology to stay in line with your own mission? Do you sometimes go back into your chart and adjust things? How do you use astrology to guide your everyday life, your decisions? How can we actually use this?
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a beautiful question. I love that. And yeah, I frequently revisit my birth chart and I learn so many things all the time. And sometimes I also forget to do the things that I know is helpful for me. And then it's a good reminder to tune back in and see, okay, this is actually what I need right now. So for me, it's very helpful for me to lean into the Virgo energy because I don't have a lot of earth and my North Node is in Virgo. I also have Venus in Capricorn, which is the only placement in earth I have. So these two have been something that I have been working a lot with during the past couple of months because I saw an imbalance for me there. So for me, it was very much about learning and allowing myself to start to have really tangible step-by-step routines in my day-to-day life because I was feeling so stuck and I often found myself scrolling, or sometimes I could literally just sit in my couch and look into the wall for an hour and I didn't get anything done. And I was like, why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling so stuck and paralyzed? And why am I not doing anything? And I found that my nervous system was very stressed out. And I actually didn't enjoy living so much in flow that I did in the earlier days around a year ago. So that was when I started to practice more with the Virgo and I saw, oh, it's actually part of my purpose to have more solid routines and getting more into wellness and tuning into my body and allow myself to eat more clean and healthy. And that was so helpful for me. And I saw that I started to feel better as soon as I started to do that. I also figured out that I have so much Aquarius energy. I have 4 planets in Aquarius, and one of them is my sun.
Love
Um,
Aquarius.
me too.
It's such a good sign.
Yeah, and it's also it can be it's not always easy to be an Aquarius because the Aquarius is also here to stand out and be different and be weird. And often we say that we are not very much in a sun sign as children, but I was very much in my sun when I was a child. I was definitely different than the others. And if you ask me, I was much more clever and smart than the others. Other people might not say the same thing, but that was what I was feeling when I was a child. And I was not afraid to stand out. I was very much of an Aquarius. And when I got older, I started to feel more afraid of standing out. And I experienced that people didn't like me. Some people didn't like me, and that really hurt my feelings. And also with the abusive home, I really learned to adapt and put away my own feelings and my own uniqueness in order to please others. And that was also a theme for me as I grew older and I realized, wow, I am not fully leaning into my unique Aquarius energy anymore because I'm so afraid of being different. I'm so afraid of being rejected and getting told that I'm weird or people doesn't like me or anything like that. And I also think that that had so much to do with why I wasn't thriving because I am meant for being different and being unique and standing out and saying fuck the rules. I'm making my own rules and what
Absolutely.
perspectives I have. Yeah. So I'm still practicing leaning more into my Aquarius energy again, and that feels also very helpful for my journey.
Absolutely. And then, you said Aquarius Sun, Leo Moon, and
Yeah.
Sagittarius Rising.
Yeah.
That's a person who's here to like
I'm here
rock
for
the
the ride.
boat. Rock the
Yeah.
boat for sure.
Yeah. I'm here for the ride, baby.
And you're coming with me. You're coming with me because of the Sagittarius, and you're gonna watch me rock the boat. I love it.
Yeah.
So cool. I love Aquarius. So me being a Libra, being also an air sign, it's like
Yeah.
I just love connecting with Aquarius. I find them so inspiring. My last boss, when I was in the corporate world, he was an Aquarius, such a clever man. And they're
Mm.
always, ahead of their times, thinking about the new thing, the new innovation, the new thing that is coming up.
Yeah.
And I love that energy. And I find it so inspiring, uplifting. And yeah, I really love that.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So, is there anything else you would like to add for a woman who's, wondering what is her life purpose? Maybe astrology can give me some information. Is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I really want to emphasize how important the intuition is. And astrology can be such a good tool to reconnect with your intuition. But literally, there's so many tools out there. So it doesn't have to be astrology if that doesn't feel aligned for any one of you who listen. But the intuition is really your strongest superpower. And it has all the answers for you. It has the answers to what is your bigger life calling and also what you are invited to step into right here, right now. What is your next step? And I truly believe that the more that we connect with the intuition, the stronger it gets. It's like a muscle you need to train. And yeah, don't be too confused with astrology. And one advice I also want to give is really also allow yourself to tune into what feels right when you study astrology, because there's also so many people out there online and there's so many different ways to look at astrology and work with astrology. So it might not be everything that resonates with you, or some things can seem confusing. So take things a little step at the time. And also another thing is that my new best friend is ChatGPT. And also I'm an Aquarius. So of course I love technology. But if there's anything that you want to learn more of in astrology and you don't really know how to learn more, I found that ChatGPT is a very good tool. So you can always get in there and say, hi, my moon is in this. What does that mean? Or I want to find I'm changing my career and I don't know what it should be. Can you tell me specifically what placement I should look at in the chart? And then it will make a list of what to look at. And then you can look at that and you can point it to ChatGPT and then it can tell you what it means and really have that conversation. It can be helpful for here now, of course. An advanced astrologer can give you more depth and more awareness than a computer can, but it can be a really great help when you're first starting out and you want to learn.
Yeah, it's a good starting base.
Yeah.
So we were discussing with you, I think yesterday it was, and you suggested that, you offer these free life purpose readings for people. I know when
Yeah.
you offered that, I definitely signed up and I did mine because I was very curious. I
Yeah.
sent it to several of my clients as well who did it as well. So where can listeners find your free life purpose reading in case they're like, yes, that's me. Like, I definitely want to do this. I need this information. Where can they find you and where can they do the reading?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Yeah, so I offer these soul's purpose readings and they are based off your sun and no, your north and south node. And you can find me on my social media. I'm both on Instagram and on TikTok at Nova Navitas. You can also just search for my name, Novaline Elsebet, and I will come up. There's not a lot of people who is called that. And you can just go to my link in bio, or you're also more than welcome to send me a message and I will send it over to you.
Absolutely. So we're going to put those two links in the show notes. So the link to your Instagram, in case
Yeah.
people want to learn about astrology, they want to connect with you. And we're going to put also the link to the free soul purpose reading in case they want to get that from you. And it's so kind of you to offer this information. I think it's so valuable for people. I know I did it. I sent it to several clients and everybody was super happy. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for offering that to the listeners of Blisstopia podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I always like to finish the podcast with 3 rapid fire questions. So
Yeah.
the first thing that comes to mind, the first thing that comes to your intuition will be the right one. So
Yeah.
are you ready?
Yeah, let's dive in.
Let's do it. So when was the last time you felt bliss?
Oh, that was 5 minutes before this podcast recording, actually.
Love it.
Yeah.
What were you doing? Why?
Yeah, I was meditating, and I was a little not really nervous, but I was excited and a little tense for doing the interview. And then I realized that, of course, I'm a Leo moon. So when I was a child, I was always visualizing me being famous and people doing interviews with me. And then I was sitting and meditating and I was like, okay, I'm not famous, but I'm actually doing an interview today and I have been practicing for this my entire life. And I just got an intuitive download, like my spirit came there and said, you have been practicing for this. You are so meant for this. And I just felt so much bliss in my entire body. It was like really this reminder of I am living my purpose now. I am here where I've always been dreaming of. getting.
So beautiful. I'm getting emotional just listening to you. So beautiful. So beautiful. The second one is, can you think of one idea that fundamentally changed your life?
One idea?
Being an Aquarius, one idea that fundamentally changed your life.
That's a good question. One idea that fundamentally changed my life. I'm blank right now. I have had so many ideas. Yeah, what intuitively comes to mind was when I recently decided to take my astrology certificate. So I always knew that I wanted to work with astrology, but I wasn't aware that I was going to take that certificate before, I think 2 weeks before I was starting. And my life changed there. And I pivoted everything, and I was starting out as a coach. And I was also pivoting my entire business. And I could really feel and see that that would change my entire life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you could choose one rule that everybody in the world needs to obey, what would it be?
One rule: always trust yourself more than anyone else.
I love that. I love that because sometimes we are so used to outsourcing the power, trusting
Yeah.
other people more than we trust us, that if we can bring the trust back in
Yeah,
and choose from that space, we can never be wrong. And our intuition is never wrong. So we just need
exactly.
to trust it a little bit more. Amazing. Thank you so much, Novaline, for your time, for your generosity with your knowledge, for sharing all of this with us. I'm sure the listeners are going to go, they're going to check their charts, they're going to check where's the north node, the south node, the south node, all of that. They have so much to check now to learn from you. They can get the life purpose reading with you if they want to. So thank you so much for your time and for your generosity.
Thank you for having me. Such a pleasure.
That was such a nice conversation with Novaline. I'm so happy to learn all of this about how astrology and life purpose can mix and how astrology can give us information about our life purpose. So if you are curious about your own life purpose, maybe you felt out of alignment lately, you felt frustrated with your work, you felt pissed off, you feel like this is not the place for you anymore, but maybe you don't know what you actually want to do instead of this job, then let me help you. I would love to help you. We can work together for 4 months and I can help you figure out what you came here to do on Earth. We're going to use different tools. Astrology can be one of them, but we have so many other tools to help you figure out what your purpose actually is. During the first month, we're going to dive so that you can really get to know yourself. The second month, you're going to dream. So, what's your dream lifestyle? What's your dream day look like? The third month, you're going to design. So, you're going to choose one idea, something that you really feel called to do, and we're going to design what that could actually look like. And then on month number 4, you're going to do. We're going to start executing, creating a roadmap so that you can start bringing this idea into life. I would love to support you. If you want to do this, you will find the link in the show notes to join the Blisstopia Path to Purpose program. Let's not waste any time. Your life is too valuable to be on a job that you don't want anymore. So let's do this. Let's start this program. I cannot wait to support you. I cannot wait to help you find your purpose. I will see you on the next episode. And in the meantime, in Blisstopia we trust.